here. Yeah, you know the drill, man. I'll just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
All right.
And then, sorry, 1 second. I probably should have checked this while we're doing it. Just scrolling up to find the notes that we went over last time. Main things we talked about were awareness, number 1, positioning, number 2, mechanics, ult usage, and then ability usage last. All right. And then, sorry, I was reading that also. I wasn't paying
That's okay.
attention.
I'm glad you didn't see that part. So.
Got time to play them yet.
Someday, Reinhardt, but not today.
I mean, it'd probably be best like right now, like if you probably not now, but probably would have been best if you'd taken the high ground, right? Because then we have a really good off angle that we can take, high ground advantage, right? We can get around them super easily. So that's just a good option that we could have gone for. So the Echo's on the top left for a while there. Just make sure we're paying attention to her, right? Because she's kind of one of our jobs, right, to pay attention to, because we could kill her pretty easily.
Oh man, this. Now I'm having my shittiest aim. That's crazy. Sorry.
Yeah, good.
Oh, excuse me.
Wow. Oh, how am I missing all my shots?
Oh, turn around. Right, paying attention to our surroundings. There's a Reinhardt over in your spawn, right? So just make sure we're keeping an ear open, watching, right, listening, just paying attention to our surroundings so that we can actually, know when Reinhardt's like behind us, like that.
That'll get it done.
Wow.
This is your first game of the day?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I was actually not playing like a little bit before,
Alright.
but for some reason, like just now, my aims is just like horrendous.
Yep, you're good. You'll warm it up a little bit. Oh, pay attention to Lucio's when he's won. Nice. Yeah, I'm definitely still noticing that awareness is definitely probably one of the bigger ones to notice, because especially just paying attention to our surroundings, and I probably say the number one thing right now I'm noticing is that we're not paying attention to the enemy team. There's so many times where like there's somebody like right next to us or behind us that we're just like not really noticing is right behind us or right next to us, right? So we just want to make sure we're paying attention to the enemy team so we can make better decisions and shoot at the right things, like when Lucio's 1 HP right next to us, right? That we make sure we're shooting at Lucio and Reinhardt's behind us, we're turning around to help with Reinhardt. Make sure when you're walking back from spawn that you're using your roll so you can get back faster, right?
Easy.
Yeah, very nice. We talked about effective range on McCree, right? Like
Yeah.
like max range. Just keep in mind there that like when we're on the high ground, they were pretty far away from some of the people, so we just want to make sure we're trying to get in close. And then there was another instance where we had done that before as well.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh no. All right.
All right, like right there, Ana slept and killed the Lucio right in front of us, and we didn't even look at him, right? So we just
Oh,
want to make sure that we're just paying attention to our environment. We're not tunnel visioning on our crosshair, so that we can look at the things when Ana makes us sleep right in front of us, right? Nice flash. No problems with our ability usage so far. Fantastic ult usage. So it's looking like the same kind of trends are happening again. Ult usage, we're getting a lot of value out of our ults. We're getting kills with them. And then ability usage, not too many problems. Maybe just following up with flashbang, right? We've missed that a couple times. And slight issues like make sure you're rolling for mobility when you're walking back from spawn. Flashbang, make sure you're not missing your shots when you flash someone, right? And then besides
yeah.
that, a lot of it's coming down to the same stuff: positioning, awareness, and then a little bit of mechanics as well. Oh, very nice. Good awareness.
Let me get you patched up. The payload. Move it out.
Right here, we might want to be like up with the Reinhardt, because remember, again, we're not trying to purposefully put ourselves at a longer distance, or we're trying to put ourselves kind of a mid-range.
I've secured the payload. Let's move it out.
Oh no, 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 no. Okay, I'm dead. Yep.
Right.
This lap's never uneventful.
No, make sure you're using a roll to dodge out things. I think we're not really utilizing a roll as well as we could be. Keeping in mind that like in the last, like there we could have rolled out of the dragon. Last fight we could have rolled out of the male. Instead we kind of rolled further into it. And then on top of that, when we were like behind cart, when we were trying to back up, you can just roll around the corner, right? You can just make sure we're using roll. We have 3 different purposes. Or oh, very very nice flashbang. You have 3 ways you can use a roll. You can roll for mobility, you can roll to dodge something, or you can roll to reload, right? Make sure we're not holding on to it. It's a pretty fast cooldown, right? So we just want to make sure we're using it a little more often. Nice shots.
We're sitting ducks. Get this moving. It's time. Oh, excuse me.
Flash has been looking pretty good. Just make sure we're hitting the follow-up shots. Is the issue with our flashbangs. Oh, good awareness of your health bar. Right, so it's looking like awareness isn't completely bad, right? We have some areas where we're doing good on awareness. It's just, there's just some times where we just aren't noticing the people around us is one of the bigger ones. All right, I think there. Potentially, like, maybe positioning more so, like, on the left side. Maybe not so, like, inside of your Reinhardt, because that's going to mean that you soak up a whole lot of damage, such as, like, stuff that goes through shields, like fire strikes. You could end up getting walled off. You soak up a bunch of ults. So just positioning-wise, remember off angles.
Hold up, man.
Heroes never die.
Oh my god. I haven't been missing this much like in none of my games
Yeah,
actually.
you're good. If you feel like, I'll talk about it after this game's done, or this round is. Oh yeah, so or I guess I can talk about it now. If you feel like you're not performing the best right now, we could, if you have any replays, we could go over those, and then that way we actually get some games where you feel like you're doing better. Because if you're making a bunch of mistakes here that you don't usually make, then of course we don't want to go over those mistakes, right? It's just a kind of waste of time.
Oh boy.
I'm also noticing that our cross are slightly tilted down when we're going for shots. So 1 HP right now, request healing, right? Make sure we're backing up. Now we're up. We have a bunch of kills, so we get aggro.
Oh. I misclicked that one, yeah.
Yeah, so what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I'm noticing that our crosshair placement has been slightly tilted downwards. So make sure that we're aiming at head level, right? We're keeping it at head level. Also there, just make sure we're kind of scouting a little bit before we're going for high noon. They were really far away when we went for that.
Heroes never die. 30 seconds.
Unfortunate.
Securing the payload. Name.
The payload is approaching its destination.
Back into the
10
mix.
seconds remaining.
And that's Let's have a westward
Well, not much you can do about that one.
Yeah.
All right. So
All right.
yeah, do you feel like you're doing much worse than usual? Would you like to go over replay instead?
Like I don't know if I have like good replays like to
Hmm.
like show you. I mean, I'm gonna try this one more time, and if I see like it's keep happening like this,
All
then I
right.
will just yeah.
Mm. Yeah, well, for
Yeah.
replays, like you'll have 9 others to choose from, right? And then, so it gives you a little bit more
Let
selectivity
me
than a
see.
random game that you're about to get.
Let me see. Okay, so 1 second. How do I know like which one's is the good one to like
All right, so
go?
when it comes to replays, right, you can look through
Mhm.
them. First thing, the big major thing you're looking for is you want a close game. You don't want a game that was like a roll on either side, where either your team did super super good or their team did super super good. Um, and you also want a game where you feel like you played averagely, right? You don't want a game where like you played like trash like this last game, and you don't want a game
Mhm.
where you played super insanely good, because then if you did, then
Mhm.
that's it's not, you're not gonna be making the same mistakes you usually make. Um,
Mhm.
on top of that, losses are slightly better, though that's not a humongous deal if it's a win.
Okay, let's see.
Oh, nice. I've also seen that I forgot to ask, but like I just glanced at your SR. It looks like you've like climbed like 300 SR, right? Or
Yeah. Now I'm like at like 2.2. Okay,
nice.
so is it 2.2? I don't know how much it
It
is
was
actually.
2.125, and then you
Oh
peaked to
yeah.
2.2.
Oh yeah, no,
So
that was in the beginning. I was doing okay. You know what? Can we do the quick play still?
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
that's
know if
fine.
yeah. Let me go to practice range.
Just keep in mind that it's an option, and if yeah, I don't have anything to talk about. I think we went over
Um,
most of the techie stuff like all at the beginning,
mm,
so I don't really have too much that we're probably gonna have to go in the training range for, unless I forgot to say something a while ago.
maybe I can try for next game. I can try Hanzo,
All right,
see if like there's anything with him. But
sounds
yeah,
good.
I've been like also like researching. Apparently, like uh, if I want to get good at hit scan, I should avoid playing like heroes like Hanzo because it could like
Um,
be bad.
yeah, Hanzo and like so yeah. I usually recommend like whenever you want to stick within your thing, so you play
Mm,
like if you play hit scan, you stick with hit scan. But
mm,
Hanzo's similar enough that they're like because of his projectile speed that you have hit scan players who play Hanzo.
mm.
That's why I wouldn't raise any objections to it. To be honest, they have similar enough kits. So Hanzo is not too terrible of a character. Now, if you're playing like Farah and Kree, or you're playing like
Yeah.
Junkrat and Kree, or you're playing something else that's like not really a hit scan character, Doomfist and McCree,
No,
Symmetra and
thank
McCree, right?
yeah.
That's a bunch of different characters that maybe don't pair as well with with McCree's play style. But Hanzo and McCree play very similarly.
Okay, that's good because I was worried that if I should like quit Hanzo, and I really like Hanzo.
No, 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 you're
But
good. Honestly,
yeah.
I don't see any problem with it.
All right. Whew. I think I get nervous too that you're watching me. So
Yeah, that's another benefit of the replay, is that you don't
yeah.
get the nerves.
All right, I'm gonna try to like act like you're not there next
Yep,
game.
sounds good.
So, do you know if Overwatch 2 is coming anytime soon?
Probably from like as a rough estimate from what I've heard, it's probably gonna be like a year ish
Oh
away.
wow.
So maybe and that might be the beta, that might be the release. I'm not sure. So not real sure. It might the beta might come a little bit before that, or that might be when the beta comes out. Honestly, no
Yeah.
clue. They haven't given any direct release dates yet.
Yeah, this game community is too small right now. I feel like.
Honestly, I don't think the community is too small at the moment. Like, it still has a pretty decent size. I think one of the only area that the game is lacking in community wise is like the streaming, right? That's where you're in the content creation. That's where you see a lot of a lack in, because there's like, if you look at Twitch, they don't really have as much as other games do, though they do still have a very big community. right? If you have a small community, like I would only really consider a game dead after you're taking like an hour to get in queues. Whereas that's not really a thing in at the moment.
No, not at the moment. You're right.
Yep.
But this queue apparently taking so long. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, DPS queues are gonna take usually are longer than any other ones just because it's the most
Yeah.
popular role. But I mean, DPS queues have been pretty much the same since the start of the game. So, I mean, I don't I don't think queue times have changed very much. Like if people stopped playing the game and this is a dead game, I definitely would say the player population has gone down. But if it went down like super severely, you'd see queue times drastically increase.
Yeah, I don't know, but I still use Priority Pass, but sometimes it takes such a long time for no
Yeah,
reason.
the priority pass system, I think they could have done better. Like, I think the main problem is that too many people have them, so like it just ends up being inaccurate because it says like, oh, it's gonna take you like 2 minutes, and then it takes
Yeah,
7 minutes instead, right? Like
yeah,
when everyone has priority passes, no one has priority passes, right? Because everyone's using them, therefore you don't go any faster.
that's
So
true.
like the
I think they
problem,
should have done
yeah,
one per game.
yep,
Write us up like
exactly right. They should have made it like maybe like I would say like they have it. I think at two. Is it still to a loss? I think they should do almost maybe zero loss or maybe like one per loss.
it's 1 loss and 6 win.
Yeah, once loss. So that's kind of ridiculous for 6 win. They should probably make it
Yeah.
like maybe a max 3 win, and then possibly even like what if they did like. No, that probably wouldn't go anywhere. But like, what if they did something like 4 win and then minus 1 loss?
Oh, that yeah, that people would like tilt on it though. People would like tilt really hard, like losing it. Okay, so let me try Hanzo.
I am spectating you now.
It is time to act.
Yep. So to reemphasize, kind of it's looking like for just strengths and weaknesses is looking like the same as last time. Except for I think last time awareness is #1. I honestly might have put positioning as #1 last game. Just remember to take off angles. Remember to stay within your effective range. Right, mid range. Make sure you're not in the open and you're not dying. Right, awareness is maybe very very close, but I maybe even coming in as a #2. Then mechanics, then ability usage, then ult usage. Make your aiming up a little bit more right there where that shot you went underneath her. Also remember, the further away you're aiming slightly higher.
The objective is now
Oh, fantastic mechanics. Great shots. Make sure you're using our Sonic arrow though. That thing's just basically gonna come off a cooldown, right? Every time you get it, basically. Alright, that way you can see where people are at. Just fire it in right off the start of the game.
The wolf marks his prey.
Activating the barrier. Barriers about. Barrier no longer exists.
See that which is
Okay, a little bit far out in the open here, right? But make sure keeping good cover usage because there that could have gone real poorly real fast. Okay. Definitely like to see Sonic coming out much more often.
Oh yeah.
Sonic, especially before you're dragoning, that's going to allow you to see where people are, and if people start moving, you can adjust it, right? Because you see people through walls. Besides that, Dragon came slightly late, right? Because they were already ended up walking through the choke point. So again, Sonic would have allowed us to see that and adjust for it, right? And then, yeah, besides that, just make sure keeping good, proper cover usage and positioning.
see through the wolf's eyes.
Experience tranquility.
resistance.
Oh my god. Alright.
Yeah, Pharah's gonna be real tough to hit. Sometimes you don't want to necessarily spend too much time on the characters that are gonna be super difficult.
I need healing. The wolf marks his prey.
Now look, you have a climb. Just make sure you're looking to take the high ground whenever it's an option. So like just right up above you would just be a really good place to be. Oh,
Oh
unfortunate.
no. Yeah.
There's just a lot of like tiny micro stuff that's really adding up. Like use Sonic more. Make sure we're not focusing on farm. We're really lining up our shots and aiming them. Right, taking high ground, using a wall climb. Right. When something's standing still, make sure we take the time to line up a headshot. Right, so for example, Ana scoping and she's moving super slowly, basically standing still. We're just kind of spamming shots in there. Make sure we're taking an extra second to just make sure it's landing a headshot. Far's barraging, we have 3 seconds while she's barraging there. You can take the time to line up a headshot because she can't move away from it, right? She's just immobile.
وريهم قوتك.
The wolf marks his prey. Oh, Tamio, what is
Make sure you're requesting healing when you're low HP. Pay attention to your health bar. Nice shot.
Oh, I saw that coming.
It's
I
unfortunate.
just saw that coming.
Yeah, we're dying quite a bit here. Make sure we're focusing on survivability. I think we've died like 4 times so far, right? So
Yeah.
just make sure we're focusing on staying alive, and then a lot of those deaths have come from, again, like the big ones being positioning and awareness, right? So just make sure we're focusing on staying alive and our positioning and our awareness. That way we're not just dying.
meteor strike?
I was a little bit too late.
Right. Even here, notice how you're kind of putting yourself in a position to where you're like a sniper. We talked about mid ranges, and I think we might want to emphasize that again after this game's done. But we're putting ourselves purposefully and like kind of actively in positions where we're too far away from people, right? Even if like Hanzo can technically like hit headshots from any distance, he doesn't prefer any distance because targets are smaller. They are much harder to hit. He's a projectile character, so the further away they are, the more difficult the shot is to hit. Right, so just make sure we're looking to be a mid-range character, not a long-range character. Same thing on our McCree as well. Was we like once in a while we just put ourselves way too far away. So like in that fight, for example, we just for some reason sat really far in the back. When, for example, we could take the left side high ground or the high ground in the middle, right? Whereas we kind of really sat too far, right?
Okay. All right.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 2. Capture the objective.
See through the wolf's eyes.
Charge up a shot before you're jumping up, right? That way, if he's like right there, you can actually shoot him as soon as you come up there, right?
The objective is now.
Oh, I thought she's gonna move, but she.
Right now we're a little bit far away, so we might want to consider getting a little bit closer.
Marks his prey.
All right, but it's also just tanks right now, so we could just stay up here because they're pretty big hitboxes. Good leap away. Sonic it, right? That way you know where he's coming from.
There is nowhere.
Good shots. All right.
I'm thinking about switching because of like their.
Because of
Pharah.
Farah, yep.
Yeah.
Switching to McCree might be a good idea, yep.
See through the wolf's eyes.
I'm just gonna. Should I ult from the base and then switch?
Well, if you ult, it's just gonna disappear if you switch, right? It doesn't stay after you swap. So you can swap if you feel like you're being hard countered and you need to counter someone they have. You can swap even if you have your ult. So
Okay.
Right, especially since you don't have the crab dragon.
Yeah.
Mocked. Oh, come here.
If we're attempting to like seriously win that fight rather than just like kind of launch anything at a pick, right? That was a very early of an ultimate, right? We kind of did it when we had no teammates to follow up, even if we got anything. They were very easily able to dodge it. Right? A lot of times they're also going to want to drag him from maybe a little bit closer because the further away it is, the easier it is to dodge.
Meteor strike.
Alright. Yeah, I'm gonna switch now.
Yep. You always, if you feel like you need to swap because you're getting countered and you can swap to a better counter, don't wait on an ult because you can see the conundrum of you almost had another ult, right? You're at 76, right? You're almost
right.
always gonna be close to or have an ultimate. So just go ahead and swap if you need to swap.
Enemy contact.
All right, here we might want to move up towards the pillar, right? Take some closer positioning.
Oh there.
Roll to reload faster, right? There we kind of were delayed on the roll.
Now hold up.
All right, fortunate.
Yeah, I couldn't do anything there. But
So are you still wanting to do live, or do you feel like it was kind of the same there?
I think it's kind of the same, I guess. But okay, so I go to highlights because I've never done this before. Do I go to highlights
No,
or?
you go to first I have to leave the game right here. You go to career profile, and then you go to
Mhm,
replays, right? And then that's gonna show you your past 10 games, right?
mhm,
And then from there you're picking one that maybe like you cross out all the ones that were like 6 minutes long, right? Probably you want one that's like preferably over like 10 minutes because then that anything below that you probably was like a roll. It
Yeah.
also will tell you what the score was. So if the
Mhm,
score is like a roll, like a roll of a score like 1 to 4 or 0 to 4 or 0 to 3,
mhm,
right? That's probably a roll. So we're looking
mhm.
for a game that's kind of close-ish, right? um Preferably a loss, but it doesn't super matter, right? And then
So this one would be. Oh, why am I not there? All right. So like, how do you? Sorry, I just like have no like I've never done this before.
yep,
All
so
right.
you click, so you're asking how to share it. So you're gonna click on it, and then it gives you the option to share, and then
Mhm.
that'll just create a code that you can copy paste for me.
How can I see the details like in the before I send before I like
The
send?
details, as in like what character are you playing, or what
Yeah,
details?
yeah. What character I'm playing?
Oh, you'd have to click into it and then enter the game and look at it.
Traveling
Okay, okay.
past
So you
So
double click and then it enters.
so in this one, I'm not even playing for some reason. Like my name is not there.
I
Oh,
guess.
I think it's one of those that I came late. I guess.
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe.
okay. So this one, like, man, I don't really have actually like one of those that like is good for us.
Do you maybe want to like screen share real quick and then I can look through them real quick?
Yeah. I'll screen share 1 second. Okay. Oh, it has to be in windowed mode, right?
Yeah, I mean you can put it back in full screen after you put in after you just open it up in windowed.
Okay. So
It just doesn't detect it in full screen is the thing.
okay. Overwatch. All right.
All right, I am taking a look.
So replays.
All right, so you have a bunch of quick plays. Probably ignore the arcade one. Or you have okay. Well, quick plays. Sorry, to clarify here, quick plays
Mhm,
are going to be much shorter games. So
mhm.
the 10-minute thing only applied to competitive games. Sorry,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
my
Okay.
bad. Okay, so it actually doesn't show you the scores as well when it's not competitive. Sorry,
Yeah.
I wasn't realize that all these were quick play games. So yeah, let's just go with a longer one that's not 4 minutes long. So probably looks like the average is above 8. So let's go for like one of the 8
This one
minutes. Yeah.
is the one that I came late, I think. But I
Okay.
can.
So then why don't you try the other 8 minute that's a win, or you can try the 14 minutes that's a loss. That one might be a good one to try.
Let me see if this is.
Oh, unable to review an undecided match. Okay. Then you
No,
try the Hollywood one then.
Hollywood is
The
this
no
one.
the no
Uh,
the I guess you can do that one. It's that's another 8 minute.
Welcome to Holly ready for battle.
Right. So you can click N.
Is that me? Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm a tank here actually. Am I a tank?
It says salty fish. I mean, click N and then you can skip forwards. N
Alright.
N.
Oh
No,
no.
you're playing Hanzo.
Okay. I'll send you this one right now.
All right.
Alright.
So you can escape and leave that.
Alrighty. So
This is the Hollywood one.
Hollywood, this one, right?
No, the
No,
top one.
I forgot which one was it.
Yeah.
Alright.
Click share.
Share. Copy and then.
All right, and then you can stop streaming after you get that over.
Alright. Okay. Are you online?
Yep. Oh, I was just gonna. Should be online. I'm on Trasher, but I was saying
Oh
you
yeah,
could probably
yeah,
just do it over Discord too.
Alright, got it.
Actually, I don't know if. All right, replay is.
Sorry, I'm vaping, so.
All right,
Welcome
I
to
am
Holly
streaming. If you want to take a
ready
look.
for battle.
Alright.
All right,
Hello there.
so we're not in game yet.
Ready for battle.
Yeah, pick these.
Ready for battle.
I took. Oh, I actually yeah.
Attackers
I
incoming.
joined.
All right.
Late.
Defend objective A.
So first thing, make sure you're coming in late on time, right? That way you can actually,
Yeah.
that way you can participate. All right. Probably just launch it in a Sonic Arrow. This gets everyone aware of like what characters are they running. This gives us like Sonic Arrow does a couple of different things for you. First off, it like lets you know where they are. It lets you be aware of flanks when people are trying to go in flanks. So like if you Sonic Arrow like right here, for example, like in this corner on this car, it's gonna show you if anyone goes in the left room, right? And that lets your whole team be aware of that, right? It's not just you. It's also a helpful thing for your team to be aware of. This also allows you to open up for kills better, right? When you know that they're coming through, you can line up a shot and get ready with an arrow, right? If you know someone's going left side, you can just like pre-aim here with an arrow, and then boom, they turn the corner and boom, their headshot, right? So just make sure you're using Sonic more often. We weren't really using it very often there in our last game that we were in. Well, if you hit somebody with a first shot, immediately follow up with a storm arrow. So here, like when we hit the Zenyatta, when you see that you hit the body shot like that, you don't want to take the time to charge up another shot. So instead you storm arrow because storm arrow is instantaneous, right? And then now you have a bunch. You have like I don't even know how many you have. Like 5 arrows, maybe.
I think 5 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 arrows to shoot in, and only one of those has to hit because he's already so low. Look at how much what his HP is at, right? So we just that guarantees an easy kill. But there we kind of hesitate with it. We still get it. And mechanics are already looking a little bit more solid in this game. Good request of healing. Probably retake the high ground after we get back to full HP here. Make sure we're sonicking again, right? So something we use off cooldown.
This one was lucky.
Okay, sonicking. All Alright, honestly, not much going on at the moment.
The wolf marks his prey.
Okay, notice that we're peeking really far out here on the high ground. So I don't know if we talked about this last time, but make sure we're not standing right here on the edge of the high ground, because look, it basically opens you up to everybody and they can see your entire body. When you move further away from the ledge, now less people can see you, right? So people below you wouldn't be able to see you, right?
Yeah.
And this also means that they can only see a little bit, little tiny sliver of you, right? Rather than the entirety of your body, which means they have less to hit on you, right? So it's just gonna be better off for you if you're doing that. Make sure not exposing our entire body. Right now we're low HP, so we're make sure we're backing up as well. Oh, very nice shots. Make sure we're sonicking constant. Like when we know that they have a Sombra, every team comp dictates play style. When we know they have a Sombra, we might honestly want to use our Sonic more often. Just like anytime we get it, we might want to just like pull, and we know that she's alive. We might want to just like plop it on ourselves or plop it on our on our supports, right?
Yeah.
Or our team. That way, our team like Sombra can't really get behind you guys too easily because you know she's
Oh,
there.
I can actually hit it to my like friendlies. Like, I
Yeah,
didn't
like
know
you
that.
can shoot it. I mean, you can't shoot them with it, but you can
Oh,
hit it on the
okay.
floor, right?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
next to
Right.
them. And a lot of the times, you're not even gonna like. Most of the time, you're not even when you're hitting Sonics. You're not trying to hit people directly. You're trying to hit objects.
Yeah.
The majority of the time, so we just
Yeah.
kind of launch at the floor in between all of them, and that way we know if Sombra's because it can detect her words. It can detect her when she's invisible, right?
Yeah.
All right. So here we have a dragon. We don't have anything to combo it with, so we're just gonna use it normally. Aiming body level, make sure aiming head level, right? Send sonics through, or storm arrows through, right, as well when we were shooting through there. Early ult. So ultimate. So why don't we talk about it real quick? Because so far it's looking like dragons are coming out very early. So I think dragons honestly look like they need more work than our high noons do. So dragons, or just in general with ultimates, we don't want to use them at this point in the fight, because right now the fight has not started. This is what you call the poke phase, right? Right now, both teams are just kind of going pew pew pew, looking at each other. They're too far away. The fight will have started if teams are like right on top of each other, brawling, or if tanks are on top of each other, or if picks are going either way, or if like anybody else is using a bunch of ultimates. But right now, none of those are the case, and therefore this is ulting way too early, and that means that they are very easily able to probably just dodge out of it. Right, they're just able to walk out of it, right, and it doesn't really do very much besides her walking into it, right. On top of that, Sonic, before you're going for it, I think we're underutilizing our abilities. Keeping in mind, and I think that applies to McCree too, make sure we're just using our abilities more often, right? Because you're going to get, like, when you hold on to your abilities, they don't do anything, right?
Yeah.
Roll is like a 6-second cooldown, and we were like barely ever using that thing, right? Sonic is we're holding on to that thing for a super long time. Same thing with our Storm Arrow. I don't think as much on our Storm Arrow, but our Storm Arrow we're still like not using as often as we could to spam down shields, to finish off kills when we're shooting down this corridor at the like right here when we're shooting down this, and when we see the Zenyatta and the Zarya, we could be shooting a Sonic and a Storm Arrow down in there, right? So we did Sonic, and then we can just Storm Arrow right here because we see there's so many people there. We just melt them really fast.
Yeah.
Right? We're just not really utilizing our abilities very much. Look at our crosshair in terms of people, right? Okay, so that one was good. Okay, wait. So right before that, so we adjust it up, right? So here you can see how it's low, right? You can see where Crosshair's at on his body, but then we actually adjust it upwards. So just make sure it's consistent, right? And it's constantly there. Really good crosshair placement though. And that's the type of thing that Sonic can do for you for using it, right? It can let you get kills, but we're not using it very often for that purpose, right? Sonic there basically got us a kill. Oh, very nice. Good crosshair placement. But again, we just want to make that consistent. Okay, Soldier's top right. He's shooting. We hear him helix, right? He walked top right, right? He's up here. So make sure we're listening because we can hear this if we're paying attention, and that means we can go and help try to take him out. Always, we do pay attention, right? We are listening. Again, this is maybe you're not aware of this, but this is a change that they made like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, where Hanzo is able to charge up an arrow, climb up something, and then immediately have the arrow out or immediately have it charged. Right?
Okay, okay.
He didn't used to be able to do that in the old days, but he definitely can. He's been able to do that for a while. One second, I have to cough. Sorry, excuse me. I'm drinking water now.
That's okay. That's okay.
All right, so yeah, so Hanzo, you can charge up an arrow, climb up, right, and then that way you have an arrow to already shoot at him without having to charge it. Because here we just climb up normally, and then we have to charge up an arrow after we get up here, which just means that if he has extra time to shoot at us, we have less arrows that we're firing, right? It's just less effective. Leap after him, right? Use your leap to chase after him. Okay, aiming low here, right? Body level. Take the high ground, probably just climb away. Right, take some good positioning. Nice shots. Again, same thing, just charge up the arrow. Nice shots. Okay, mechanics, honestly, are looking really, really solid now on our Hanzo. Probably might, trying to think here. Honestly, like in this, would you say that this is more accurate to your current mechanical skill level, or
Yeah.
were your other two games?
Yeah, this one honestly, like I
This
don't like that I was like really underperforming. Like,
Okay.
yeah,
If I'm relying on your assessment there, which hopefully your assessment is correct, I
yeah,
would probably put your mechanics underneath other thing your ability usage and your ultimate usage to work on, to be
okay,
honest, which beforehand that was not the case. Before, I think ability usage and ultimate usage were the bottom ones, and then
Mhm.
mechanic is number 3. So we're gonna
Mhm.
do some shifting around here in how they work, because right now honestly mechanics are looking pretty solid. And then we're underutilizing our ability usage and ultimate usage, especially on our Hanzo here. Though on McCree, I'd probably say we're honestly doing a little bit better. Here it's looking like we're struggling a lot more with it, so maybe on McCree I might put it higher than the other
Mhm.
two, but definitely on Hanzo I'm putting mechanics lower. Also, I don't know, like this also kind of seemed like it in here, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't
I
know.
have an issue. I have an issue like when I'm like on the high ground with the Hanzo
Mm?
and like shooting my like shots or like if they're elevated or if I'm elevated, like my accuracy is like way worse.
Yep, that's applies to everybody.
Okay, okay.
That's not unique to you, because it's just inherently more difficult to aim down and up in this game because of
Mhm.
very complicated game mechanics that I probably
Mhm.
couldn't even remember to explain to you. Though I know that there are game mechanics that make it more difficult to do that because of just
Mhm.
how aiming works.
Mhm.
You could, if you were like interested in that, you could probably look it up like on YouTube or something like that. And I know I did a
Mhm.
while ago, but just know that that applies to everyone. It's more difficult to hit shots up and down, but it
Okay,
still
okay.
is much better positioning, and it's going to allow you to get around shields, and it's going to give you a ton of survivability. So even if it's a slightly more difficult shot,
Mhm.
there's a ton of benefits that make up for it being slightly more
Mhm.
difficult.
Okay.
Yeah, that one was pretty good timing. Got a pick out of it. Seems like we're shooting bubbles a little bit too frequently. Make sure keeping
Yeah,
an
I
eye out
noticed
for
that
bubbles,
too.
and make sure we're not destroying them. Right. The only time you should ever really be shooting at bubbles is it's okay to shoot a bubble sometimes. The times where it's okay to shoot at bubbles is if we know that we can get a pick, we can kill Zarya through it. Right. If we break the
Okay.
bubbles, we can kill Zarya. So for
Yeah.
example, if she's out of position or if she's low HP. Right.
Mhm.
Any other time, probably not gonna be a good idea. Like
Like here, I should
here,
have
maybe not. Yeah.
What is that melody?
Soldier, yep. Focus him. Good target priority, honestly. Target priorities honestly look pretty solid. Not too many issues with that. watch your health bar right now. Sometimes you just kind of tunnel vision on the thing we're shooting at. We don't realize that we're 60 HP right now. We don't realize that we're about to be like run over here. Like right now, I guess like in this instance, it probably doesn't matter because we're probably just trying to get an exit pick. So honestly, like if we're just trying to get an exit pick, then that's fine. We're gonna die anyways. All right, so we swapped.
Oh yeah, I think we swap here because I don't know why I swapped, but I did.
One thing just for food to thought that maybe like it's just for something for you to think about, but just like taking a look at your career profile like and just looking at your like your win percentages, right? You take a look at this, you see McCree's #1, Hanzo, Soldier, Ash, right? And you see in that order. And we take a look at the win percentages and we see, okay, McCree's has the best win percentage, then Hanzo, then Ash, then Soldier, right? And we see that like Ash and Soldier, their win percentages are actually like really, really low. So if you've dropped in SR, I would imagine that's because of those characters, like and you losing the games on those characters. So that's just some food for thought. I'm not necessarily saying you have to drop those characters, though. You might you might just want to stick with Hanzo and McCree if you're trying to like really learn those characters and get better with them. That'll give you an additional 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of experience on them. As well of that 8 hours of experience being on characters that you're already better at, right? All right. Actually, we're gonna leave the game now, so we're gonna go and do a review, right? Talk about all the wrap up the session, right? Go over the main points. So again, I think I did this like the first time or something like that, but it's slightly different on our Hanzo versus our McCree on what we need to work on. But we'll just go over everything, right? Review everything. So jump, just make sure we're using our leap. I don't think there's too much of an issue there. Sonic, make sure we're using it much more often, right? Sonic on corners, so we can know where people are at. That way we can shoot them around corners, right? Just use it more frequently. We're not using it very frequently. So, Storm Arrow, same thing. It's not that you don't use it poorly. It's just that we're not using it very frequently. Also, if we hit a body shot on someone, use the Storm Arrow to finish them off. So if we go like this, oh, they're already low. If we do this, use the Storm Arrow to finish off the target, right? Because it doesn't require a charge up, right? And it allows you to finish them off really fast, right? Dragon, make sure you Sonic beforehand, right? A couple things with Dragon, right? You want to Sonic, preferably around the wall so you're not getting shot while you use it, right? We want to do it slightly angling behind them, and you preferably want to be close, like either super close or super far, right? So you could do it from spawn because then that kind of throws them off because they're going like, where the heck is it? Where the heck did it go, right? But if you're doing it from a medium distance away and they know where it's coming from, it becomes very easy to dodge, right? So that's the other part of being behind a wall. Being behind a wall makes it so that you're safer while also making it pretty hard for them to know where it's coming from until it's too late, right? They don't know where you're at. If they know where you're at and you're just kind of out in the open while you're using it, then they have more time to react to it and dodge where the dragon's going because they know where it's starting, right? That makes sense?
Yeah.
Besides that, make sure we're not using ults too early in fights, right? That was really the only other thing. Is just like sometimes we'd like use it at the very, very beginning of fights, that at the poke phase, right? Use it. Make sure you're using it slightly like after the fight starts, like right at the beginning of the fight, not before the fight even starts, right? Mechanics, make sure we're aiming head level. Besides that, honestly, looking pretty solid, right? There's sometimes where we're just aiming too low. Aim head level. The further away you get, make sure we're aiming above their head, because if we're back here and we're aiming at head level, right, the shot goes to body. So we need to aim up, right, up higher.
Yeah.
Besides that, not too many other problems with it, right? Just it was slightly it was like inconsistent in your games that you were playing earlier, but in the replay it looked honestly really fine. On to positioning and and awareness, the two biggies here. Positioning, make sure you're properly using cover, right? We're not standing on the open, but we're using cover. There's a lot of deaths just because we're standing on the open. Survivability as well, right? Make sure we're not dying all the time because that's going to allow us to do more when we're staying alive, right? Make sure you're using high grounds because it gives you a bunch of different options. Take off angles, right? Just reminding you to do those two because sometimes we wouldn't. We just kind of stay on the main angle, right? I think last time we've in the past emphasized like why you take off angles and high grounds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for target priority, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Exactly.
More field of view too. Yeah.
Yep, so just make sure we're remembering to do that. That one wasn't too terrible. Keep in mind as well your ranges, right? A lot of times you're playing too far away, right? We're kind of playing back here against people when you probably want to keep a mid range, or just like here to here, right? Ish, right? Same thing on McCree. It's basically the same range on both of them. Right? You can play further, but you're not going to want to too often because it's much more accurate. You don't have a scope. You don't have any way. You don't have any lowered sensitivity, and they're smaller targets, right?
Yeah.
So just make sure we're sticking inside our effective range, because there's a lot of times where we just wouldn't stick with inside our effective range. Awareness. So when it comes to awareness, couple different things. Pay attention to your health bar, right? Because there are a couple times where we just didn't see that we were low HP and we didn't request healing. We didn't do anything about it. But it wasn't too often, but it's still a thing. Pay attention to, what was it? Enemies was the big one, right? Paying
Yeah.
attention to your surroundings, right? Paying attention to where our enemies at, because there are a whole bunch of times like where we'd be like shooting at something over here, and then basically on our screen, like we'd be shooting at this guy, and Ana would be like right here, and they slept somebody like right there, and they'd be on our screen, and we just like wouldn't notice. We just keep shooting, right? We
Yeah,
keep going for
tunnel
this.
vision.
Yep, tunnel visioning, right? We want to make sure we're paying attention to our surroundings, because there are a ton of times where someone would be behind us, next to us, right, in front of us, and we just wouldn't notice the enemies there, right? So don't just stare at your crosshair, look at all the corners of your screen. That's probably one of the biggest ones with awareness, is just paying attention to where where the enemy team is at, right? On top of that, there are a bunch of smaller ones with awareness, right? Awareness got us killed a couple times just because we weren't paying attention to our surroundings. Take high ground this Hanzo, right, by just climbing up there. And then I think that is it. Moving on to McCree. High Noon honestly looking pretty solid, right? Same thing, same thing, everything else. High Noon looking really, really good. Ability usage, make sure rolling more often. Roll can be used in 3 different ways. First off, it can be used for mobility. So when you're walking back from spawn, make sure we're using it just to get back faster. It's a 6-second cooldown. You get that back pretty quickly. So don't be afraid to use it. Be like, it's a 6-second cooldown. We probably use it like every 20 something seconds, maybe ish, right? We kind of like used it when we could have gotten like in the same time that we could have gotten 3 in, right?
Yeah.
So we just make sure we're using it actually using the ability. All right, you can also use it to reload, and you can also use it to dodge things, neither of which we did, right? We make sure,
Yeah.
if we're actively still trying to shoot at something, we run out of ammo, we can real quickly reload so we get it back even faster than reloading would take, right?
Yeah.
On top of that, make sure we're just using the dodge stuff. So like one time, like we were kind of sitting on cart, and they started ulting at us, and we just kind of sitting on cart, like right behind it. And
Yeah.
what we could have done is just go boop out. Now we're out of danger, right? Where we're just
Yeah.
around the corner, but like we didn't. We just kind of instead we walked over, right? And I was like, okay, well we could have just rolled that, right? And then also
Yeah.
the May ulted right after that, and then we could have just like rolled backwards out of it, but instead we
Yeah.
kind of like rolled forwards to the side. So we just want to make sure we're using it to get away. Flashbang, honestly, really good. Just want to make sure we're getting the follow up right, because sometimes we just miss our shots after we flashbang. We just whiff them. So just make sure we're hitting our shots after we're landing flashbang, and that's it. So main points. Number 1, we're putting at positioning. Slightly different than last time. I think the last time was awareness. There was a lot of awareness stuff, but I think positioning slightly overtook it. So positioning is number 1, and that fed into survivability as well.
Yeah.
Awareness comes in at number 2. And then number 3 changes across to both characters. On
Yeah.
McCree, number 3 is going to be your mechanics. Number
Yeah.
4 is going to be your ability usage, and number 5 is going to be your ultimate usage.
Yeah.
On Hanzo, this is slightly different on Hanzo. It's going to be your ability usage is number 3. Ultimate usage is number 4, and then mechanics is number 5.
Okay.
Right? So it's kind of a little bit out of order. Right?
Yeah.
Any questions about anything we talked about, man?
No, that's it, man. Thank you so much, bro.
All right. Well, thanks a whole lot, man. It was fun doing this stuff with you. I'm going to stop the
Yeah.
recording here.
All right.